It's scary how much power an HOA has over your life. Welcome back to my channel where we share all the latest news about the new construction process and home buying process. Today, we're gonna be sharing a very scary story about an HOA. So make sure that you stick around for this one because it is a good one. I have been a real estate agent in a new construction community for several years now, and I've seen some pretty crazy things with these HOA letters. We're gonna be sharing one today that just happened last week. Okay, so here's what happened. So there was a family that decided they wanted to build a spec home in this particular neighborhood, and this is actually one of the homes that I sold. So I kind of know what goes on in the neighborhood and who is doing what and who lives there. So there's a lot of drama, and I don't even know why I'm saying drama. There is a lot of crazy stuff that happens in this neighborhood, and I've seen it since I've been selling real estate there. So let me just tell you a little bit about this neighborhood. It's an expensive neighborhood. The lots are big, like half an acre or more in most cases. And the houses are really nice. But you can only build certain types of houses there, and everything has to be approved by the HOA before you build it. So if you decide you want to build a garage apartment or something like that, you have to get the plans approved by the Architectural Review Board of the HOA before you do anything. So this family decided they were going to build a spec home. That means they build it before they found a buyer, and then they sell it after it is built. They also built their personal residence there, and they've lived there for about 3 years. They built the house that I am talking about last year, and it took them all year to build. So it's taken from January to December to build this house. Well, when they were building it, every time that they had a meeting with the Architectural Review Board about changes that they had to make, they kept asking for more and more revisions. And at the end of the day, it was just a simple house. It wasn't anything extravagant. It wasn't anything crazy. It just looked really nice. But the Architectural Review Board kept requesting different changes that they needed to make. Well, finally, after getting approval for all of the plans, they were able to put the roof on the house and close it in. And once the house was closed in, they could put the siding on it, and then they would finally be able to paint it and move on to finishing out the interior. Well, here comes the drama. This particular HOA is run by a property management company. And I guess during the winter months, they decided that they were going to hire a new company to manage the neighborhood. So they put out a request for proposals, and they got a few different companies to come and bid on managing the HOA. Well, the people that bid on managing the HOA were from out of state. They weren't local. They didn't even live in the area. So when they came in, they started looking through all the files of all the houses in the neighborhood. Now, this is where it gets a little weird, because while they were reviewing all the documents, they came across this house that was under construction, and they found all of these violation letters that had been sent to the builder, the owner of the house. And they realized that there were still outstanding items that hadn't been completed. And this was from the original set of plans that had been approved by the ARB, the Architectural Review Board. So they said that the builder had not completed all of the items that were required in the initial approval. Now, this is where it gets really strange. Every time that the builder had submitted plans to the HOA for approval, they had paid their fees, and the HOA had stamped those plans as approved. They had marked them as approved. So, this was very confusing to the builder because he's like, well, if y'all approved it, then why are y'all telling me now that it's not up to par? Why are you telling me now that I have to make changes? Well, according to the HOA, they said that the previous management company had made a mistake and they had approved these plans in error. So now that they were under new management, they needed him to correct all these things that were supposed to have been done based off the original plans. Well, the builder was like, no, I already spent all this money to get this thing up to code, and I have all these change orders and extra fees. You guys approved the plans. And I've already spent all this money, and now I have to tear it apart and redo it. Well, the HOA said, sorry, but we need you to correct all of these things, or you're going to be fined $100 a day until such time that you correct all of these things. Well, the fines went into effect, and the builder stopped working on the house. He basically shut down the whole entire job site. He put all his tools away and he locked the gate, and he stopped working. Well, in the meantime, he continued to fight with the HOA to try to get them to understand that, hey, you already approved these plans. How can you tell me now that I have to make changes? Well, long story short, the HOA did not budge. They did not listen to him at all. They continued to send him the fines every single day, and it was getting very expensive for him. Well, he finally reached out to me because I was the one that had sold the original client on the house. And I had closed them, and they were supposed to be moving in any day now. So he reached out to me and asked me to go talk to the HOA and see if I could get them to listen to reason. Well, I reached out to the HOA and I told them that I was trying to get this house closed for the sellers and that they needed to work with us to be able to do that. Well, they told me, no, we are not working with you. We are not listening to you. And they actually told me that it was none of my business what was going on between them and the builder. Well, I was very surprised to hear that because I've always had great relationships with HOA letters in the past, and I've never had them treat me this way before. So, I was a little shocked to say the least. Well, I continued to work with the builder and the seller to see if we could find a solution, and the solution was to pay the fines and just let it go. So that's kind of the update on the situation. It was a nightmare for everybody involved. It was a nightmare for me, the builder, and the sellers. And I still don't understand why the HOA is treating them this way. Because the house looks great and it fits in perfectly with the neighborhood. So if anyone has any insight on why an HOA would do something like this, please let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. I've never experienced anything like this before. And if you're thinking about building a new construction home, make sure that you watch this video right here because it will help you avoid a lot of mistakes. Also, make sure that you subscribe to our channel because we put out a brand new video every single week. If you're interested in learning more about the new construction process, check out this playlist right here. And if you're interested in learning more about the home buying process, check out this playlist right here. And if you've watched it to this point, I really appreciate you sticking around this long. Comment down below. Let me know that you made it to the end and tell me what you thought about the story about the HOA. I would love to hear your thoughts. Thanks so much for watching and we'll see you next time.